you for having me.
So let's start with what you saw as the biggest factors resulting in the better-than-expected trade data.
Well, I certainly was encouraged because what I see is those imports a lot stronger. They do suggest that the domestic economy continues to recover. Obviously, the products that really stood out were iron ore, copper, which is really good because it says that infrastructure spending is going to be stronger and that the real estate sector in China is going to be stronger. In short, domestic demand is certainly picking up, and that certainly bodes well for China, and one of the reasons why by the end of the year we will see that much, or if not all, of the GDP that was lost during the pandemic will in fact be recouped by China.
And you touched on domestic demand. How much has that driven imports figures up in the second quarter, and how likely is that to continue in the second half of the year?
I think that it will. Strong government stimulus, and hence you saw the very strong gains in copper and certainly in iron ore. And then I think in the second half of the year, if we start to see the rest of the world getting a little bit stronger, that certainly will also bode well for the exports of China as China continues to recover at its pace. One of the things that I did notice, though, is that even though we see that imports from the United States by China, they did pick up sequentially. In the first 6 months of the year, they're still a little bit softer, so we'll need to see more imports, particularly farm imports by China, if we're going to see that phase one trade deal be adhered to as was agreed upon.
And speaking of the U.S., with Trump signing the Hong Kong Autonomy Act, the U.S. will treat the Special Administrative Region as it does the Chinese mainland, as well as sanctioning individuals and entities that it deems to be in violation of this act. What does this escalation mean for the current trade picture, as well as the future of the trade deal?
Well, I'm hoping that cooler heads will prevail. As you probably saw, yes, these trade sanctions were approved, but so far no announcements have been made as to who is going to be sanctioned. We know that all these things are still moving us perhaps in the wrong direction in terms of decoupling the relationship between the United States and China, but no real concrete actions have been taken. So it is still possible to have these laws on the books and no real escalation can, in fact, take place or perhaps be avoided. And that's the hope and expectation. These are the two largest global economies in the world. And so it's okay to have this noise, but I'm really hopeful that it doesn't escalate out of control.